According to legend, Romulus and Remus, the two brothers and descendants of the god of war Mars, stand on different hills near the Tiber River and argue about the location of the new city. Romulus, the military strategist, chooses the Palatine Hill. He argues that its high position is ideal for defence and military operations. Remus, on the other hand, is on the Aventine Hill. He thinks about trade and agriculture and emphasises that proximity to the river is key for economic success. As the dispute reaches a critical point, both decide to seek a sign from the gods. Remus and his followers soon see 6 vultures flying over the Aventine. "This is a sign from Mars," claims Remus. Romulus counters by saying that 12 vultures have landed on the Palatine. The gods are clear. They prefer the Palatine, he says. However, both are steadfast in their beliefs. Remus insists that the first sign from the gods is the most important, while Romulus believes that the number of vultures is what really matters. This dispute, which starts as fraternal disagreement, will soon escalate into something much more tragic. Romulus, having settled on the Palatine Hill, knows that founding a city requires more than just choosing a location. He needs to establish sacred boundaries to create the Pomerium. With white-skinned oxen and an iron plow, Romulus begins to dig a trench around the Palatine. This trench is not just a physical barrier. It becomes a sacred boundary that no intruder should cross. While Romulus is busy with this ritual, Remus and his followers, who are still on the Aventine Hill, are not ready to accept the new order of things. Therefore, Remus and his armed followers cross the trench and enter the territory of the Pomerium, armed and ready for conflict. Romulus, seeing this, knows he cannot allow anyone to violate the sanctity of the Pomerium. He draws his sword and kills Remus and his followers on the spot. "Thus is done to anyone who dares to disregard the Pomerium," he says, watching as the remaining followers of Remus retreat in fear. This trench was not merely a physical barrier to the city founded by Romulus. It becomes a sacred boundary that no intruder should cross. But what we've told so far is just the introduction to our more detailed story about the Pomerium. This trench, lined with stones, will be a sacred perimeter that will play a key role in preserving Rome and the development of the Roman Empire for centuries to come. The Pomerium of Rome, a line in the sand that was so much more than just a boundary. It was a sacred divide, a legal frontier, and a political statement, all rolled into one. Let's delve into this fascinating tale, shall we? The Sacred Circle. Imagine walking through the bustling streets of ancient Rome. The air is thick with the aroma of roasting meats and freshly baked bread. You pass by grand temples, their marble columns gleaming in the sun, and you can't help but marvel at the city's splendor. But as you wander, you come across a peculiar sight. A series of ceremonial stone pillars, almost hidden between the buildings. What you're seeing is the remnants of the Pomerium, the sacred boundary that once defined Rome. The word Pomerium itself is a relic, a term that harkens back to the city's earliest days. It's derived from Latin, where post means behind and muris means wall. But don't be fooled. This isn't just any wall. This is a wall that carries the weight of law, religion, and tradition. It's a wall that, in many ways, defines what Rome is and what it isn't. The Pomerium is a circle, a nod to the Latin word orbis. And circles, as we know, have no beginning and no end. They're perfect, eternal, divine. It's no wonder the Romans took this boundary so seriously. To cross it was to commit a grave offence, punishable by death. And it wasn't just a matter of law, it was a matter of faith. The gods themselves had sanctioned these gates, these entry points into the sacred circle. To breach them was to invite divine wrath. The Pomerium's expansion. As Rome grew and expanded, the Pomerium struggled to keep pace. Despite efforts by early rulers like Servius Tullius in the first half of the 4th century BCE to expand the Pomerium, they couldn't do it in time. The city was growing faster than a new Pomerium could be constructed, so over the years the Pomerium remained concentrated only in the central part of Rome. Additional expansion of the Pomerium occurred during the reign of Emperor Claudius, when the Palatine Hill was added to it, and the last major expansion of the Pomerium took place in 271 CE, during the reign of Emperor Aurelian, who built a defensive wall that was 19 kilometres long, much of which has survived to this day. The invisible line of power. Let's be clear, this isn't just about religion. The Pomerium is also a political tool, a way to delineate who has power and who doesn't. Inside this boundary, Rome's elected officials, consuls and praetors, are bound by the laws of the land. They're public servants tasked with governing the city and upholding its traditions, but the moment they step outside the Pomerium, everything changes. They become military commanders, vested with the power of life and death. It's a fascinating dichotomy, isn't it? One step across an invisible line, and you're transformed. Your lictors, those bodyguards who follow you around, add an axe to their bundle of sticks, signalling to the world that you're not to be trifled with. And this isn't just for show, this is a deeply ingrained part of Roman culture. Even when the physical walls of the Pomerium crumbled away, the Romans still respected this boundary. They still saw it as a sacred divide, a line that shouldn't be crossed lightly. The Senate's dilemma. Now let's pivot to the Senate, the venerable institution that held the reins of Roman governance. Senators, too, were bound by the Pomerium, restricted to its hallowed circle. But what to do when they needed to consult a general who couldn't enter the city without giving up his command? Well, they got creative. In such cases, the Senate would sometimes venture outside the Pomerium to convene their meetings, often choosing temples or other public buildings as their makeshift chambers. It was a workaround, a compromise between the sacred and the practical. As we navigate the intricate tapestry of Rome's history, let's not forget the characters who bring colour and complexity to this tale. Take Pompey, for instance, a man of ambition and military prowess. He found himself in a rather peculiar situation involving the Pomerium during one of his triumphs. Imagine the scene. Pompey, victorious and eager to showcase his spoils of war, decides to make a grand entrance into Rome. And what could be grander than entering on a chariot pulled by 2 elephants? But here's the catch. The arches of the Pomerium were not designed to accommodate such colossal creatures. So, there he was, stuck at the gates, his elephants unable to pass through the narrow arches. It's almost comical, isn't it? But it also underscores the rigidity and sanctity of the Pomerium. Even a man as powerful as Pompey had to bow to its ancient laws. He couldn't simply take 2 steps to the left and bypass the sacred boundary. No, the Pomerium was not to be trifled with, so whether it's a general's elephants or a Senate meeting, the Pomerium was more than just a line in the sand. It was a complex boundary that even the most powerful Romans had to navigate carefully, a testament to how seriously this invisible line was taken. And here is the moment when you ask yourself the question, wait a minute, how come they enter the Pomerium as generals and soldiers? Isn't that forbidden? The question arises right on the spot. You are right. The triumph was an exception, where a general, consul, soldiers could enter the Pomerium armed after explicitly permission from the Senate. Without this permission, such an action would be perceived as a direct threat to Rome. The tension of command. And then there's the question of military command. To stand for office, you have to enter the Pomerium and declare your candidacy. But what if you're a general, stationed halfway across the empire? Your only option is to abandon your post and cross the sacred boundary, effectively giving up your command. It's a catch-22, a tension that's hard to resolve. This became a pivotal issue during the Roman Civil War. Julius Caesar faced this very dilemma: to cross the Pomerium and risk losing everything, or to hold on to his command and plunge Rome into chaos. We all know what he chose, and the rest, as they say, is history. The legacy of the Pomerium. So what can we learn from all this? The Pomerium may be an ancient concept, but its implications are timeless. It's a reminder that boundaries, whether physical or metaphorical, carry weight. They define us, shape us, and sometimes even trap us. But they also protect us, giving structure to our lives and our societies. In Rome, the Pomerium was more than just a line on a map. It was a symbol of the city's identity. It was a way to separate the sacred from the profane, the political from the military, the Roman from the non-Roman. And while the physical walls may have crumbled, the idea of the Pomerium lives on, a lasting testament to Rome's enduring legacy. So the next time you find yourself crossing a boundary, literal or otherwise, take a moment to reflect. What are you leaving behind, and what are you stepping into? And most importantly, what does that say about who you are? The Pomerium. A line that was so much more than just a line, a circle that was so much more than just a shape, a boundary that was, in every sense of the word, a world unto itself. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Don't forget to like the video. Every like is very important to us. Subscribe and get access to upcoming historical videos about the Roman Empire and beyond. Share with me in the comments what you think about the Pomerium, what else you find impressive about Roman history. Next time we'll turn another page in the grand book of history. Until then, stay curious.